Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB. +3, those +3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at +1 at the moment. You can head back in the playlist to find it. Today's spell is Mirage Arcane. Yep.
Where am I?
7th level illusion, casting time for 10 minutes, range of sight, components verbal somatic, duration 10 days. You make terrain in an area up to 1 mile square. Look, sound, smell, and even feel like some other sort of terrain. The terrain's general shape remains the same, however. Open fields or a road could be made to resemble swamp, hill, crevasse, or some other difficult or impassable terrain. Bond can be made to seem like a grassy meadow, a precipice like a gentle slope, or a rock-strewn gully like a wide and smooth road. Similarly, you can alter the appearance of structures or add them where none are present. The spell doesn't disguise, conceal, or add creatures. The illusion includes audible, visual, tactical, and olfactory elements, so it can turn clear ground into difficult terrain or vice versa, or otherwise impede movement through the area. Any piece of the illusion terrain, such as a rock or stick, that is removed from the spell's area disappears immediately. Creatures of the true side can see through the illusion to the terrain's true form, however, all other elements of the illusion remain, so while the creature is aware of the illusion's presence, the creature can still physically interact with the illusion. Wow, okay, this is a step up from illusionary terrain. It's hallucinatory terrain. Holy fuck, what? What? Fun thing before we get into the spell, with the weird taste comment from... Did we talk about that? Did that stay in the last video? I don't know anyway. However, a way to double check if something's an illusion. So far, any of the illusions we've covered don't cover taste. So, what are its limits? What are its limits? What? Even... Again, long rest wise. So you get 7th level spells back at the end of a long rest. You know, just a nice nap. Or not a nap, but you know, a nice night's rest. This lasts for 10 days without concentration, only 10 minutes to cast. You can keep this up forever on a location, which you don't even need to be locally around. You just need to be able to see it. And it's a mile square. That's a big area. And the craziest part about all this, yes, the craziest part, outside of the duration, outside of the area of effect, outside of the range, is the fact it's tactile. The fact you can touch it, the fact you can move things in it, the fact you can use things in it. It mentions anything picked up, like a rock or a stick or some of the general things in the area. You move out of it, and it'll stop working. Yes, it says terrain. This doesn't allow you to make like, oh, I've made a massive gun for this army to use now. No, that's not gonna work. It specifically says things it's altering in the terrain. Which, however, something which hallucinatory terrain didn't cover, partly. This one adds buildings. Yes, you can modify buildings in the last one as well, by just having illusion over them. Kind of. And then this one, you could also, you can modify certain buildings, which become tactile, which we'll touch on that, but you can make buildings, or remove them entirely. And because it's tactile, it's tactile. Tactile is the biggest part of I'm trying to get around this. Can you make a depression in something? Can you only add? Because it says you can remove. Does that only remove visually? Because this covers tactile. And you could touch the fake building. And even if you know it's an illusion, you can still touch it. But use it. So yeah, the fake building you can touch. The invisible fake to remove building, can you walk through that? I don't think so. I would not rule it so. I just say the building is invisible. And that would be one of the things that could break the side of the illusion. And everything else would still stay the same. That doesn't matter, because you now have a mile square battlements. You can make buildings. Now, okay, it depends the limit, because it says keeps the terrain's general shape. What are those limits? Because you just added in you can make buildings. Okay. I should hold back on that. It doesn't say buildings entirely. It says structures, which could include buildings, but also could include things like just simple wells or siege equipment. So coming down from that, I'll leave that in the comments to see which one that covers. This is heavily opinionated on what the limits are, because yes, you can make this an instant fortress essentially. And one that lasts 10 days, not concentration, no material components, and just 10 minutes, sight away, boom, done. Even before a battlefield, you could, okay, even, we'll talk prep first. Again, the terrain you're around, You can make it luscious, you can make it fine, you can make it feel great, you can be in the Shadowfell like, oh yeah, no, there's a nice meadow here. Don't think about it and don't look too closely. And if you just calm down, you're in a nice flower meadow. And if it does allow you to modify structures or add structures, would you rule it that it could just modify ruins to then be... Okay, so a creature, it tactically affects, or it has tactile response to. So, you know, a creature trying to touch or hit something. Does equipment and loose objects fall through? Like if someone threw a rock at a wall created by this, does it only affect the creature trying to touch it, and like because of magic they're held back for some reason? Or does the rock actually hit the wall and stop, even though it's a fake wall? Or does it go through? And that count, does the rock going through count as an investigation check? But yes, that's the instant fortress and such. You could do this in a crappy village somewhere and make it seem really nice whenever guests are coming, and that's really bad. Or if you're at if there's a military camp off in the distance, or there is a village in the distance, you could pull, oh, sorry! Before I move on to the next part, I thought you could even make an investigation check against this. How silly was that, thinking that you could look through this? Nope, True Sight. True Sight's the one that does it. True Sight's the one that can look through this. There's no investigation check. What? What? Imagine casting Detect Magic in the entire area for the next mile. It appears as illusion. What do you do then? You could fake an entire if you could gaslight a whole village into thinking something is entirely different, or there's just not a building around. What about city structures? How great can the effects of those be? All right, yes, the camp one. Off in the distance, there's a military camp off in the distance. And you cast this. Now, they're in a swamp. Even though there wasn't a swamp there in the last night. I don't know. It's magic. Wibbly wobbly stuff. Could be just like the plane of mud coming in here, or the realm of whatever that is, some part of the plane of Earth. And it's now horrid swampland. There's bugs everywhere. Everything sucks. For the next mile. 10 minutes. And you've entirely taken away and took out the fortifications from, well, maybe not the fortifications. You've entirely taken away the calm and nice rest and campsite of an enemy right before battle. Or just change the battlefield they're fighting on in the first place. Because it also can make difficult terrain. It can make difficult terrain. Again, tactile. And even the creature with True Sight still physically interact with it. What is the spell? This is just a matrix, but with magic and localized in a small area. You could really gaslight a whole village into thinking something's different. Because again, it's only a mile. Oh, but it's only a mile. Poor sap. So, because it's only 10 minutes, and because of how long rests work and base spell slots, you know where this one's going? Because it's 10 days, you just gotta refresh one each day. Yeah, I said one each day, because you could have 10 of these up virtually at a time by just using your 7th level spell slot. This is even counting if you're burning your 8th or 9th for some reason onto this as well. So you have a 10-mile square of terrain, woods, and it doesn't have to be a perfect cutoff. You can make it that, and that would be the limit of the illusion, but you're an illusionist, or if you're thinking creatively with this, you can have the edges of that illusion be different. You can have wood seem super cursed and horrific to travel through, and actually terrible to travel through, but it's just an illusion, and it seems to naturally fade into the surrounding terrain. Oh, okay. Again, like a lot of illusion spells, customization spells. What do spells look like? This is what spells look like. Down below in the comments, what uses can you think up for Mirage Arcane? Oh my god. Illusionist wizards being able to manipulate the illusion after it's already made. I now dread what's in the comments below. But anywho, see you in the comments then for... I think this is a sleeper pick. I did not know. I got this confused with hallucinatory terrain. I thought that was just it. 10 out of 10. There's not even an investigation check. You have to use True Sight. It's tactile, actually has physical effects on the area, and it lasts 10 days, no concentration, only 10 minutes to cast. Only 7th level. I'd figure something like this would be 8th. Not 9th, but 8th. Again. World building wise, maybe not the grandest impact because it's not super accessible because it's such a high level spell, but for like a big BBEG villain, especially an illusionist one, or a hag that you have an excuse for them doing a ritual to have this, or anything Fey-wise, this is amazing. This is amazing. Well, okay. That might be with the limits I'm thinking of. So we're going to knock it down to 9 out of 10. If there are not really any limits on the structure or how physical objects interact with it, then 10 out of 10 for making fortifications on the spot. However, with some of the limitations on how you can actually affect the terrain, so the battlefield has to be something you can kind of bend to your advantage, 9 out of 10. We're going to settle on 9 out of 10 with that one.